Come on in here, sugar. Y'all quit running through this house slamming my screen door. Let Grandma tell you something. Now tomorrow is the 4th of July. Folks gonna be outside burning hot dogs, eating barbecue, making potato salad, and shooting fireworks. Ain't nothing wrong with people enjoying a holiday. Some of our own black folks celebrate the 4th because they love this country. They served in the military, or they see it as celebrating the freedoms our people fought to make real. That's their choice, and Grandma ain't fussing with them. But Grandma wants you to understand why some of us see that day a little different. See, on July 4th, 1776, the Declaration of Independence said people had rights and liberty, but while those words were being celebrated, our African ancestors were still enslaved. They weren't invited to the celebration, and they weren't included in those promises. That's why some black folks say, those founding fathers aren't my founders. You see, babies, a founder is somebody who helps build something. Well, our ancestors built this country too, only they did it without a paycheck, without freedom, and without a choice. Some of the men we call the founding fathers owned enslaved people while talking about liberty. History tells us that. So when some black folks say, I honor my own ancestors as my founders, they're thinking about the men and women who laid railroad tracks, cleared fields, planted crops, built buildings, cared for families, and endured slavery so that generations later, we could have opportunities they never did. Now Grandma wants y'all to think about something. A loving father protects his children. He teaches them. He lifts them up. He doesn't put chains on them or treat them like property. That's one reason some black people have a hard time calling those men our fathers or founders. They choose instead to honor the ancestors who survived those chains, who refused to let slavery destroy their humanity, and who passed down faith, strength, wisdom, and hope from one generation to the next. Now, every now and then, somebody will say, y'all talking like that just divides people. Well, baby, telling the truth ain't what divides people. Hiding the truth is what keeps folks from understanding one another. You can't fix what you won't face. Now, don't you go looking sideways at black folks who celebrate the 4th. Don't you do it. The good Lord didn't make us all think exactly alike. Instead of fussing, teach. Instead of arguing, share the history. Then let folks make up their own minds. Wisdom don't have to holler to be heard. You know what Frederick Douglass asked back in 1852? What, to the slave, is the 4th of July? That question still makes people stop and think. He was asking America how it could celebrate freedom while millions of people were still in chains. Now let Grandma tell y'all something that'll make you smile. Can you imagine our ancestors on July 4th back then? You know somebody's old auntie probably whispered, y'all better quit looking over there and keep chopping this cotton before freedom gets us all in trouble. Sometimes you laugh so you don't cry, but don't ever mistake that laughter for weakness. Our ancestors were some of the strongest people God ever put on this earth. They survived things that would have broken a whole lot of folks. They prayed when they were hurting. They sang when they were tired. They loved babies they didn't know if they'd get to keep. They held on to hope when hope was all they had. That's why Grandma says our family tree didn't start with presidents in powdered wigs. It started with survivors. It started with people whose names may never be in history books, but whose courage lives in every generation that came after them. Every time you stand up for what's right, every time you get an education, every time you keep your faith, you're walking in the footsteps of those ancestors. So whether you celebrate the 4th with fireworks, or whether you spend the day thinking about the long road our people traveled to freedom, don't let anybody make you ashamed of learning your history. Know the whole story. Love people. Tell the truth. Honor your ancestors. And remember this, babies. Every freedom you enjoy today cost somebody something yesterday.